We're back at the Wine Academy in downtown Toronto. It's a freezing day, but guess what? That makes sense because our event is on egg freezing. Helping people navigate a decision like egg freezing is so important. We're sharing information that so many in our audience at Pregnant wish they knew. It's empowering to know about your fertility. We're tying it to Valentine's Day because I think it's an act of self-love to take this step and learn about your reproductive ability and your future. I am so thankful to the sponsors who made this event possible. Create Fertility, Pollen Fertility, Future Fertility, Theralogics, EMD Serono. We could not do this event without the support of generous sponsors. And I'm just so grateful that we had a full room on a freezing day as we talked about egg freezing.
When you think about egg freezing, there's a lot of things you need to know about it. Certainly AMH testing is one of the important things that can test the number of eggs or your reserve, but it doesn't tell you anything about quality. Historically, there's been no way to assess egg quality before we existed. So we have an AI solution that looks at images of your egg. After they're taken out of your body, they go under a microscope and we can tell based on an image of that egg what the reproductive potential is.
We're now speaking out loud about these important issues. When I first started practicing reproductive medicine, this was all very hush-hush. Nobody talked about whether they had a partner or not, whether they had thought about their fertility or freezing their eggs. When I first started doing this, everybody was 36 years old. They said, we've tried to meet someone, it didn't work, so now we're gonna come to you and freeze your eggs. But now the data has changed, and what the data says is the earlier you do it, the better your outcome, the more eggs you'll get, and the more high quality eggs you'll get. So in my practice, I've seen a tremendous shift in patients coming in at 28, 29, 30, even 26 or 27. And it's all about being proactive about the process rather than reactive.
So just the data itself, tracking my life ahead, I was like, if I'm not having children until my late 30s, how can I set myself up to have options? Second reason is my insurance was covering the medication costs. So if you are working, and I think like the banks, the consulting firms nowadays are supporting women in the workplace to freeze their eggs and have those financial opportunities, ask those questions. Like ask your insurance provider if this is something that can be covered, because that alleviated a lot of burden for me. And then the third reason was, I know I want to be a mom.
When Pregnant launched, I went on TV and I said exactly that. I said it's the greatest, most underserved, undercovered relationship chapter of our time. Steps like egg freezing, egg retrievals, IVF impacts every relationship, the relationship we have with friends, family, dates, if we're single and dating, partners, if we have a partner, workplace, our bodies, ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, probably the most important relationship, right? It's deeply existential. It's a relationship chapter. Well, the research actually proves my point that when we're more present and when we've taken proactive steps with fertility, if we want to be parents, we date better.
We're born with all the eggs we'll ever have. And then as we grow older, it kind of just goes less and less and less. So we use that as a marker of ovarian reserve. And then we also do an ultrasound so we can see what your antral follicle count is. So that looks at the number of immature follicles on each ovary that have the potential to grow into a dominant follicle and then ovulate. So we start with your testing. We meet up after for a follow-up so we can review all of your testing and then basically help predict how many eggs we think we may get. Now, that's probably a question coming for later, but the answer really is as many as we can get, right? And it really does depend on your age and your ovarian reserve.